in a way, what you're doing, and this is the part that always amazes me about the way people use Lumena.
Yeah, you can see it up close.
You're using it in ways that no one thought of.
You mean that you didn't think of when you wrote it?
No. When I did the first paint system I ever did, I kept adding the menu. And the menu kept getting bigger and bigger because everybody wanted something slightly different. And I finally had to quit when there's no space in the menu. So I went back and when I started doing Lumena, I made it so things were additive. And you could start adding your own tools and building things. And then it's always been, ever since the first Luminas came out, I'm always amazed at the different ways people do things.
Wouldn't it be interesting to plug in where you'd have like maybe 2 or 3 Lumina systems and have them overlap, have the images all be, like each person would have a picture plane so that your computer, mine, and
like
Elizabeth's would all wind up on here. And then we'd know, okay, I'm on plane 1, you're on plane 2, and she's on plane 3. You could even have the computer some way, I'm sure, but wouldn't it be neat to have that kind of ability that musicians have of plugging into the same equipment and then
so you're making a collaboration,
do a piece together? Yeah, everything winds up in the same place. All the it's possible, huh? I got interested through the video games. That my son would take me to he liked to play them, and we had to go to pool halls and places like that in the early days. And I was watching Pole Position, the one where they go down the racing track and Mount Fuji's in the background. And I was thinking, well, that isn't that artistic, but it's kind of neat. And if I could have drawn all those pictures, the cars were pretty neat. I wasn't too wild about their scenery, but I could see that they had, that artists had sat down and made these pictures, and that they had created an environment that kids could play around in. And it kind of reminded me of Disney, and it seemed like one step further. And I felt, well, you could do art with this stuff. And it kind of just hit me like a thunderbolt. You could take this type of stuff. And John, I think, was working at Atari in those days. I might have even seen one of your games.
Actually, from my Atari games, ever since then, about twice a year approximately, I borrow a kid and have them take me to the video arcade.
Just to see what they're, yeah,
because it represents a certain level of state-of-the-art in motion graphics, at that level. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. That's what we're going to be seeing.
70% of Americans have a VCR. I just learned that. And even a greater percentage have TV sets.
Well, and shortly we're going to have high-definition TV.
And as the resolution on the sets goes up and they get more...
That's what we actually need is high resolution.
Boy, it's actually a very good output medium. It's, in terms of printmaking, if you compare it to serigraphs or lithographs or etchings or woodcuts, there's less labor involved, the materials are less expensive, and the resulting piece of art is an original that you made. It's a handmade original. I mean, you've used the tools, but you did all of the just like the printmaker runs the press. I mean, he doesn't actually, the roller pushes the paper down and all, but he runs the machine. And I feel a lot like I'm a printmaker when I do these, because it's a lot like making an etching or something.
Oh yes.
And it's a first. It's not a copy of. It's not a reproduction of. It's the actual work.
Essentially, people are trained to watch TV from infancy these days, and there's a certain expectation that's built up because we watch TV happen a certain way, beginning, middle, and an end. Logical progression and events go on, and generally they go on quickly. People are also trained to look at print or at still art of various types. There's various levels of training, all the way from the training we get by looking at Cheerios boxes and soap boxes that the ad people train us, to the training we get in art appreciation courses and so on. But no one has the training to look at something like this that's neither of those. It's somewhere in between the two, but it's neither of those. People have difficulty with it because of that, because they just don't have the training. They want to go watch it like a TV show, or as you said, they want to stop it and look at it as an image.
Well, or you could. I'm saying if you really want to inspect it, you still have any number, thousands of single works of art.
It falls more into the realm of fish tanks, in terms of it's always moving and changing and.
Interesting analogy. Fish tank.
Well, in your home it would exist in the same way, where I could sit down and look at my fish tank and watch the fish move around in different configurations for 10, 15 minutes. I could do the same thing with this. And
it would be relaxing instead of
instead
of involving you in another melodrama. You could use it to unwind.
The glass waves with the snow and all of that.
Yeah.
So we're back into the art form.